I actually was a drug counselor for a long time. And before that, I was a drug addict. And before that, I was 10. So yeah, that's my resume for anyone. And I had a job, and remember when AIDS first came, that's when I was doing the counseling, was when AIDS first came out, and they blamed it on gay people in the beginning, remember? And then we found out it was the Jews, remember? Everybody okay? Now, I got an email telling me that wasn't true. Could you imagine somebody taking the time to fucking email me to tell me that the Jews didn't cause AIDS? They weren't even upset, like, oh, that was terrible. It's just false information. You are spreading false information to comedy clubs throughout the country. And I was astonished that the person would do that. So I wrote back, of course I know it's not true. If the Jews had AIDS, they wouldn't have given it to anyone. See what I'm saying? They would have been like all hoardy with their AIDS. Their little noses walking around. It's my AIDS. You can't have any. So when I was doing this counseling work, when I first got off drugs, the parents would ask me, would you talk to my kids about not doing drugs? And I'm like, have you ever considered that your kids do drugs because they have parents that ask strangers to talk to them about important shit? Maybe that's why they're on drugs, you know? So anyway, I would go out and talk about drug addiction to people, and then they said, well, can you just talk about AIDS now? So I was teaching AIDS, how you could catch AIDS. This is a long time ago, and it was very simple to me. The whole thing was fucking simple. It wasn't so complicated, you know. It's very easy not to get AIDS. You realize that, right? It's like the fucking easiest thing in the world to not get AIDS. It's fucking easy, man, to not ever get AIDS. Like, fucking easy as shit. Like, really easy. So I would say, you know, you got to use condoms and safe sex and all this other stuff. And somebody said to me once in a seminar, in one of the seminars, I would go to the colleges, and this was at Colgate University, which is a very prestigious school, I would imagine, if you want to get a really nice cubicle. That's what you get. Fuck you. That's what you get when you get out of college. You do heroin, have fun, you get to do this. But stay in school, you guys, really. Heroin's awful. It feels like a blowjob and a puppy licking your face at the same time. Yeah. Don't do it, because... So I'm telling the college students, are you guys college students? Anybody going to college? Some of you guys? No? Nobody? Yeah. So you know how you have people come in and do lectures and education? That's what I was doing. But the students are always pretty cool. Like, they never ask dumb questions. Like the kids. The kids were like, yeah, cool, that makes sense, you know? And they had a lot of empathy because I would tell them stories about people that had it. They would be really empathetic. It was always like the teachers and the parents that were fucking retarded. It was always a parent that would say the stupidest fucking thing. This guy raised his hand at the end of my seminar, and he's like, well, let's just say there's a casual situation. Like, you know, there's a bloody doorknob. This is a fucking alumni of Colgate, and he has his son trying to become just like him. You understand? So I was baffled. I was like, first of all, sir, what are you doing here? I'm like, and where do you live that a bloody doorknob is fucking casual? I'm from the Bronx, and that's even disturbing to me. So he's like, well, theoretically, it's possible. So this is why I'm not doing that work anymore, because of my answer. I said, sir, it's not really that possible, but, well, yes, he wouldn't stop. Like, see, the kids were open-minded and hell, but he needed them to be afraid, you see? Just like the government, every day you turn the TV, you're going to get AIDS, SARS, you got now the swine flu. If you're afraid, you're going to buy shit. That's the fucking point. As long as we're afraid and separate from one another, we will continue to fill the fucking pockets of the white man. Yeah. Whitey, you know him. So I said, sir, you know, it would be really difficult, nearly impossible, really, but I mean, I guess there's a scenario, and I'll tell it to you. First of all, the blood on the doorknob has to be from somebody who has AIDS. Obviously, first, it has to have AIDS. Secondly, you have to, if it dries up, it'll die. It'll kill the virus, unfortunately. So, yeah. So what you have to do is, you have to get to the blood while it's still wet, and then repeatedly slam the door into your asshole. Just keep doing it until... And I swear, it was about 15 or 16 years ago, but that is pretty much verbatim what I said to the man. I swear to God. And the same thing happened. All the students lost it hysterically laughing, and this asshole walked out. So I was like, I want to do this for a living. Like, get rid of the assholes, let them walk out, because they don't like what I'm saying. Just like this, you know? It's beautiful. So, and then another time, it was a woman, and this is when I actually totally never did the work again. I was doing this, and the woman raised her hand and she said, well, you know, I said there's no stupid questions. Remember that? There's no stupid questions, but I found one. Yeah. I said, well, now it's time for question and answer period, kids. If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to. So a lot of the students raised their hand and say, they were asking questions like, how could someone abandon their kid because they have AIDS? Like, deep, fucking, meaningful shit. And then this dopey twat raises her hand. And she's like, well, a friend of mine and I seem to really think that you can get AIDS from mosquitoes. So I said, well, ma'am, that's not a question. I don't know if you knew that. And no, you can't. And she's, again, well, my friend, I said, your friend's wrong. You're wrong. It's a dumb thing to say. And I hope to God none of these kids listen to you about anything ever. She was the dean. She was the fucking dean. And this is what you're dealing with in American educational systems. This is what you're fucking dealing with. So I said, look, you can't get AIDS from a mosquito. And she said it one more time. Well, and as she sat down, she goes, well, like, you know, I'm a fucking dean. I know. So I'm just going to let you go, thinking your silliness with all your training and education about AIDS. And I'm going to sit down now. You know, one of those condescending type things. So when she did that, I just, like, snapped, and I said, well, I hope that you and your friend get AIDS from a mosquito. I hope you get gang raped by Haitian mosquitoes who shared needles with other mosquitoes. And that was it with that. And that's when I started doing comedy.